You want to first to five, huh, Brock? Huh? You want to first to five, huh?
All right. We're back. Right? We are back. We are absolutely back. Right? And, of course, today we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat. Right? I've actually recorded this video twice now, and then some reason, for whatever reason in my Streamlabs, it had decided to split my recording. Right? I didn't turn that option on, and I'm going to arrest the person that turned that crap on. Right? So, I've been watching for 2 months. Right? Seeing a lot of things change, a lot of attitudes change, a lot of the stuff that's come out about the gaming. We've got the final DLC character with T1000, which some are arguing is a essentially paid DLC because of the amount of things that it can do versus base roster characters. And I'd probably agree with that, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they've got to try and make it sell, right? I don't agree with it. You know, pay to win stuff is always going to be bad. And perhaps that is the case with these characters that are given a lot more options available to them versus the base characters. And that's probably the reason why some of these base characters, some of them, they've had another look at and gone, maybe we need to, you know, fix or amend or give some of this stuff to fix them up. But there is a sigh of relief for me that we have the Kombat Pack now over and done with. But what's the future? Well, it's going to go two ways, right? The movie's coming out later in the year, so what's going to happen? They're going to do one or two things, right? Or actually, it's probably the only thing that they can do now, right? If they announced that they were going to stop support right now, then that would sour the community. It would also sour people against the movie. It would all, not that I give a shit about the movie, and don't worry, I've got a video for that crap too. But what would happen is that they can't do any cross promotion either, and we've already seen the cross promotion with the movie skins, and they're alright. I mean, serious, like, and is that the only skins? Is no one else getting movie skins? Is it only those, you know, couple of characters, right? Again, it's just so hit and miss in this game. Like they just kind of, you think, oh yeah, that's a good idea, like, you know, and then they just fuck it up, right? And so they're going to. And I think Ed Boon said this a while ago. He's like, oh, there's still going to be DLC coming out. Well, they could add a mask to the shop, and that would be considered DLC, because it is, right? It's downloadable content if you're a patch. It's content in the game, okay? So therefore, they can lie to you without lying to you, right? It's wonderful. It's a great gig, right? We gave you content. We said DLC was coming. What, a fucking movie skin? Mask? Stage variation? Right? And believe me, I am very happy with the stage variation that we got with the field stage, right? The whole Floyd thing, right, I think should be a lesson to NRS and say that, and TMK's been saying this for the longest time, that this is the stuff that we really want. We want the secrets, right? We want that cool shit in the game, right? And the field stage, as well as fighting Floyd, and then of course the Floyd Tower and Towers of Time, and then fighting him again, and then unlocking the night version. That's all cool. That is paths to progress. That is paths to unlocking stuff and giving you stuff to do, right? That's what I love. That's what we used to have in the classic MK games. We didn't have tons of this woeful grind, right? Or these just awful unlocking mechanics, you know, or the boring ass modes like invasions, right? So that's what I think they're going to do with the future of MK. Now I know there's some rumors circulating at the moment about a possible Kombat Pack 3. I haven't fully looked into it yet, but I will. Don't worry about that. But ultimately, if I was them and I was trying to garner goodwill from my community, I would announce very soon that there is going to be a Kombat Pack 3 coming out, that it is going to be all Mortal Kombat characters, and that there's going to be no cameos, and it will come out after the movie. So it gets people excited, right? And then they'll watch the movie, and then that comes out, and that'll be like the last hurrah for Mortal Kombat 1, right? Now, as far as the pro scene going, and like I said, I've been watching stuff. I've been paying attention to everything and everyone. The pro scene seems to be very happy at the state of MK1, but the pro scene is a very tiny percentile of the entire Mortal Kombat fan base, right? And the cameo system, like the cameo system, by and large, shouldn't have been in the game. If you wanted to keep it in the game, it should have been an optional game mode rather than the staple game mode. But from a Mortal Kombat fan, like a fanatic of MK, but just from the casual side of things, this roster bugs the absolute piss out of me. I have said for the longest time, right, that the entire cameo roster should have been NPC MK characters like Madame Bo, right? I don't care if they're new NPC characters that are introduced. I don't care if they're old ones or from comic books or whatever. You make it that they're non-playable MK characters, right? That way you don't end up with fucking duplicates like Sector or Kung Lao or Sub-Zero or Scorpion or Cyrax. And you know they changed Janet because then we would have had another one, right? Which technically is grounds for suing because they actually falsely advertised the product before launch that this was going to be it. And if you bought the game on the premise that this was going to be in the game as Johnny Cage, that is actually grounds to sue because they have sold you a false product, or sorry, a product under false pretenses, and they changed it, right? And we're talking pre-orders here, right? So they don't even own the game. We're talking the pre-orders here, right? And then they changed this after the fact, right? It's a very bad precedent. And then what we have is we have a whole bunch of characters, right, which should have been playable, right, from the get-go, or at least added in through the space of the roster. Particularly OG characters. They literally create a whole new universe and they put 3 of the OG characters on the bitch bench. Imagine being that brainless, right? So that's one of my main issues, apart from obviously the cameo system, and I've been right about it the whole fucking time. The whole time, right? It's okay to admit when you're wrong, right? But the reality is though, like seriously though, the reality is though, is that, you know, this game just, I think there's a lot of sentiment around it that people just want it to be over and done with and see what the future is moving forward with Mortal Kombat. Right? We need to have Mortal Kombat come back to being great. Now people will say, because I think, because you've got Mr. Brownback at the head of the table, dictating the way and gameplay of how it is, that of course the pro scene are happy because they got a game that suits their business model. That's to be fair, right? Like the game is going to be played the way that they think it should be played for them to be able to make money and win, right? But pro players don't sell the game, right? And people go, well, Fate, you make Mortal Kombat content videos, giving your opinion of the way that you think Mortal Kombat should be, and that is a fair point. What's my answer to that? Because most casual fans are on YouTube making Mortal Kombat videos, sharing their opinion. I am in the same tiny percentile as the pro players are, right? None of us, to a degree, are influencing much, right? It's the massive casual fan base, if you want to call them that. I still find that a little bit of a derogatory term because, to be perfectly honest, no pro scene person out there would have your position or your competitions if it wasn't for the massive casual fan base that had bought the games and the previous games to be able to put these games in a position that people go, right, now we'll start making competitions out of it. I've said this before. How would these people survive? Back in the day, when there were no competitions around these early fighting games, like I mean way back, you know, it doesn't matter if it was Capcom, whatever, right? And they didn't have social media influencers or pro players to come in and stuff. You had game testers, but every game gets game testers because they're coming in as a tester. They're not getting him as a pro. They're getting him in as a tester. You notice that the testers that they got for MK1 were all people that either compete, well, I think it was all of them. I'm pretty sure it was all of them. Either massive influencers or commentators. Did they get Jimmy over here at the fucking, you know, at the McDonald's to come in and game test? No. It's very specific because they're trying to get the game to a position where they go, oh, is this going to fit with this particular scene? Otherwise, you should be just getting anyone. Right? If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, test it. Do you like it? Right? And you know what the only complaint was from all the shills and whatnot? The only complaint that came out, not the cameos, not the graphics, not the lack of modes. You know what it was? It was speed. That's all they cared about. Oh, it's so slow. Let's speed it up. Yeah, your character moves fast. That's wonderful. As soon as you start hitting them, everything slows down again. Right? So they fixed movement speed. Right? You want to know why nobody cared? Because it was in their financial best interest not to. Let's be honest here. Right? When I was calling shit out, everyone was hating on me for it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right? But I don't care. You know why? Because I'm a fan of Mortal Kombat. And their opinion doesn't matter to me. Right? I'm a customer. I hold all the power. You hold all the power. And since all of us have paid for this, all of us, equally, might I add, we all have the same ability to share our opinion. And we get people out there in the community to think that we need to stay in a lane, or we don't know as much because we didn't walk into a fucking competition. Like that matters. Your competition exists because of people like me, not the other way around. That's just the facts. That is the absolute facts of the situation. Right? And we're lucky that Mortal Kombat 1 is even getting competitions, considering the absolute shit show that this game has been. So what's the future? I think, like I said, they'll drag it out. Right? And I would like to be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll grow hair. I would like to be wrong, and that they do announce actual content. Combat pack. All Mortal Kombat characters. Boom. Final hurrah. Give it to us, baby. Right? Straight up. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Right? Because at least, we go out with a positive note. At least we go, you know what? Okay. Do that. But when I make Mortal Kombat content, and I talk about Mortal Kombat, I'm not coming at it from a position where I think the game needs to be this way because I say so. The game needs to be a certain way because the previous games that sold extraordinarily well, not NRS games, we're talking about everything from MK9 backwards, right? That felt like Mortal Kombat. When you loaded it up, you heard it, you saw it, everything about it felt like MK. Those games are the proof. That is the evidence of success. And now we don't have that. We don't have the oohs, we don't have the ahs, we don't have trees roaring, we don't have memorable sound attached to a stage. Not even the stages are that memorable. This is a beautiful stage, but it's a postcard. If I took away the UI and the characters, it's a Windows desktop picture. It's a wallpaper, right? There's nothing dangerous about it. Now, if you added a stage fatality, right, where you knock them into the background and some gigantic monster crawls out of the fucking ground and eats them, that suddenly changes my opinion on the stage. Because now the stage is, it looks calm, it looks safe, but there's actually, there's something lurking in the background that's dangerous. That's why stages like the Pit and the Deadpool and the Combat Tomb are dangerous, right? Because, yeah, you're fighting on the bridge and you're like, I wonder if you can knock them. Holy shit, we can knock them down. That's amazing. Or if you're fighting in the Combat Tomb and you're like, oh yeah, this is good. And dragons flying around in the background. You go to do the stage uppercut, movement. Bam, whoa. Spikes on the wall? because we had spikes before on the pit bottom, right? So then they just reversed it, right? So that was a nice little twist. We don't have that anymore, right? And while I'm a tiny percentile with my voice on here, right, and I'm just simply venting and talking about it, you know, sharing my opinion, because that's all I've done, right, is share my opinion, much to the chagrin of others. The reality is, though, is that the casual fan base, the people that support the game, and like, yeah, we all do, but the ones that essentially call them the silent majority, they're the ones that are walking away and going, yeah, it looks like Noob, looks like Sector, it's not, sort of is and sort of isn't, right? I mean, we got, like, you know, the Mountain Dew mascot here, and then a needless sex change, right? Not to mention the absolute insult that we got the MK11 Cyrax and Sector male skins in the game, and they're stuck on a cameo. That is like the biggest sin I have ever seen in this game. Because people have been screaming, just like the Ermac look from the Crypt in MK11, people have been screaming for these costumes. And then, that's what I meant, they go a little bit and they just fuck it up. Right? It's complete blue balls with the situation. And the other thing too, right? The other thing too, they must be sitting there and looking at Capcom, who has just been spitting out collection after collection after collection, right? Of their classic games, right? Full online play, rollback, you know, tons of illustrations, artwork, everything, right? Bangers. And I like the fighting collection, like the one with the with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in it. It's an amazing collection, but the one I'm really looking forward to is next month. And that's Capcom Fighting Collection 2 with Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper. It's my favorite Street Fighter of all time. Probably above Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But Alpha 3 Upper, or 03 Upper as it was called in the arcade, was the one that we got on the PlayStation 1. That was the game that we got on the PlayStation 1, with all the extra characters like Guile and Evil Ryu and stuff like that. And now we're getting that. We're getting that now. A proper release now. Every platform. Can't wait. Right? Not to mention we get Capcom vs SNK 2. Oh, bellissimo. Beautiful. Warner Brothers and NRS must be sitting there going, we have the classic collection, and I've given my ideas about that. I've given my ideas, which other people have stolen, about the Dada collection, the Deadly Alliance Deception Armageddon collection with a throw-in of Shaolin monks. All you got to do, listen, all you got to do is you got to make it 4K, and that's it. Online play, rollback, 4K. You don't have to do anything else. Just do that. The fact that an emulator can do that, right? That there are people online right now playing these old PS2 3D era MK games, and a billion-dollar company and a multi-million-dollar developer are just sitting on their hands not doing anything about it, is a sin. That is the gravest of sins, right? And if you had to do, you could do that. You could essentially kind of do a soft remaster, or more of a remaster for MK versus DC. I didn't give a shit about it, right? But some people did. You put that, you bundle that with MK9, because that was the last two Midway developed games. I know MK9 was published under NRS, but Midway, as per Total MK's, like when I've talked to them about it, MK9 was being developed as a Midway game. And then, of course, the buyout happened, right? But they'd already done the work. That's why Mortal Kombat 9 feels like the last great MK game, because it was, right? So therefore, they bundled that with MK vs DC. Just maybe a little bit of remastering, especially the cutscenes. Online play, sold, done, right? But they won't do it because they're scared. They fear the truth. And the truth is that MK was greater before these ones. Now, that doesn't mean to say that if you're having fun with these games, that my opinion should change you. That doesn't mean to say that you're wrong or a bad person. I've never said that. I've always stated, and I've never told anyone not to support something, you know, because at the end of the day, it is your money, it is your time, and if you are enjoying the product, go for it. I will never dictate that to you because, you know, everyone is entitled to spend the money how they see fit. And I've been saying that forever, right? And I don't think badly of anyone. In fact, a while ago, like in my break, I just played a little bit of MK Online with some of the boys from the Discord, right? Just played against them. That was fun, right? It was a lot of fun. Just playing with them, right? Not worrying about the sweaty tryhards and casual or ranked. So, you know, so there are aspects that can be had fun with the game, but it was an experiment. I kind of see this as just an experiment and a failed experiment at that. And they've been basically trying to plug the dam with like their fingertips and little band-aids the whole time. And some of it's worked, some of it hasn't. They bank on a lot of nostalgia. That's why they've been putting in the MK movie skins or the like the old movie skins, and then of course the MK10 skins. And then they did the new skins are gonna. I think they're gonna. I don't think they're out yet. The ones coming out for the new movie. So they're kind of trying to get some nostalgia running. You know, do some connective tissue with the new stuff coming. But it still feels like a soulless MK game. I can jump on Fightcade right now and have a blast. And it's a 30-year-old game, right? A 30-year-old game. I don't know what to tell you, right? It's like, you know, it is what it is, you know. But I have been paying attention. I have been watching. I have been observing everyone, right? And don't forget too, we got the podcast. It's going to be launching at some point. Just simply titled The Fatecast. Also on the channel, like I said in the stream yesterday, I'm looking to possibly add in some, you know, some change ups, so add in some different stuff. So if I'm streaming, I might stream you know, Call of Duty, or I might stream some Space Marine or stuff like that, just to, you know, just to mix things up a little bit. Because I used to do it. You know, I used to do it, right? Back on old channels and stuff like that. So it's not a new thing for me to do. But I want to thank everyone for sticking by me this whole time. Thank you everyone for tuning in for yesterday, and good journey, and I will see you guys in the next aggravating video. Catch ya.